Hi, I'm Michael Tanaka, Miracl's Chief Commercial Officer, and I'd like to introduce you to Miracl Trust ID, and I suspect be one of the few people to give you a demonstration today. We provide the world's only single-step multi-factor authentication which has no hardware requirements. We also improve the user experience by doing away with second steps like SMS text, push notifications, and authenticator apps. Using a zero-knowledge proof, no sensitive information is sent across the web or stored in the cloud, so man-in-the-middle and replay attacks have nothing to intercept. In addition, phishing, credential stuffing, and other automated bot attacks never gain control of all the factors to authenticate. So in short, it'll block 99.9% of all account takeover attempts. So what's the mission? To replace passwords and SMS text used for authentication. So the question is, why have passwords survived for so long when we all agree they're no longer fit for purpose? We'd suggest there are three reasons for that. Passwords are very simple, passwords are inexpensive, and passwords are easy to deploy. So if your authentication technology doesn't have those same three characteristics, you may have a nice niche product, but you don't have a broad replacement for passwords. And as you might expect, Miracl's authentication is a simple single user step. It costs as little as 1/40th of an SMS text message, and it can be deployed to any device without customization and without dedicated hardware. So I'll cover a couple interesting aspects of the technology. Cryptographic keys are often used for authentication. An authenticating user needs to prove that they have ownership of a key which was assigned to them earlier, and then they're allowed in. So keys are clearly critical, as is the generation, distribution, and protection of them when they're at rest. And our key splitting technology helps us with all three of those things. Client keys are generated on two or more independent servers, and then those parts are sent to the device being enrolled. So that means there's no single point of attack on our infrastructure, and there are no databases of keys or keys to IDs. Once the key parts arrive on the user's device, they're briefly reassembled into a complete key. Then the user chooses a PIN, which gets extracted from the key, turning it into a useless key shard. So after enrolling, your device has a key shard, which is the possession factor, and the user has a PIN, which is the knowledge factor. So when a user authenticates, they simply enter their PIN into the device, and that gets recombined with the key shard to make a complete and working key again. This means the PIN is a true secret because it doesn't have to be checked against any databases or sent anywhere. It also means that the key shard cannot be brute forced offline because this is a completely online protocol. Of course, none of this matters if it doesn't support your user flows and devices. And with most security technologies, you need to make some very hard, very important decisions. Namely, which of your users you're going to exclude due to hardware requirements or perhaps due to false positive rejections. Not so with Miracl Trust ID, which supports 100% of mobiles, desktops, and many other devices like smart TVs. We can also integrate to any device which can run a few lines of code or a browser. So anywhere you were using passwords before, you can now use Miracl's multi-factor authentication. And of course, it's affordable. We charge on a per-use basis. So if you have 10 million users and only 1,000 of those users log in, you'll only be charged for the 1,000 logins. And that's not just us being generous. Due to the technology, enrolled users cost us nothing to maintain. So we can apply a commercial model that ties in nicely with your end user activities and also your revenue streams. So after all that build up, I'm going to show you what I promised, which is a quick demonstration. So what I'm going to first do is launch a native app. And what you'll see is a very familiar user flow, but it's completely impervious to outside attack, and it's not relying on any of the security features of the operating system or the hardware. But it is a native app, so it needs to be optimized for the operating system. So instead, what I can do is I can launch a browser where I'm presented with a very similar flow. I'm asked for my PIN, and I simply log in. So now, of course, we've severed all ties to the underlying hardware and operating system, which means I can now authenticate on anything, including a desktop. And here you'll see this is a world's first, where I'm authenticating into a desktop with a single user step and absolutely no hardware requirements whatsoever. So, although that was far too quick, I hope you're left with an idea of how Miracl Trust ID makes it possible to deploy strong multi-factor authentication in situations where it was previously impractical or impossible. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy your break.